Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court. I'm David Vogel, Judge Executive. Happy to have you here today for our first meeting of, I guess this is actually our second meeting in September. It seems like it should be the first, but it's really the second. And we're happy to have all of you here. If you happen to bring a cell phone with you, if you turn it to off or vibrate, we'd appreciate that. First of all, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Harrison.
Here.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Here.
Magistrate Dye. Here. Magistrate Logston.
Here.
Judge Vogel.
Having all members of Fiscal Court present, this meeting is now in session. Your motion to accept the agenda. Second. Are there any additions? Magistrate Likens, did you have one? Or?
Oh, yes, sir. Building and Maintenance Committee has business we would like to discuss with the court.
All right, we'll add that under item C, under C, subsection 1, Building Committee. Is there anyone else that'd like to add anything? All right, hearing no one, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now I'm going to ask Denise Clark to please read the minutes from our last meeting, which was actually September 1st.
September 1st, 2020, the Oldham County Fiscal Court convened at a regular meeting at 2 p.m. with Judge Executive David Vogel, County Attorney John Carter, and the following magistrates in attendance: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Albert Harrison, Steve Greenwell, Chris Hounds, Stephanie Hawkins, Bob Dye, and Michael Logston. The court observed a moment of silence and admiration for his service, but sadness with his passing for Nate Burke, a 1998 graduate of Oldham County High School and a member of the Army National Guard. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to approve the agenda as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Likens to approve the meeting minutes from August 18th, 2020 as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Public comment. Janet Bowman of LaGrange addressed the court regarding how she had been treated by members of the community. Becky Zockline, Solid Waste Recycling and Grants Coordinator, announced the following. The drive-through household hazardous waste collection is scheduled for Saturday, October 3rd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Oldham County Fairgrounds. National Cleanup Day is September 19th. The citizens of Oldham County are invited to design their own method of cleaning up to make an impact on the environment. The tire collection event will take place the last quarter of 2020. Date to be announced. The recycling center is open. Director of Public Health Teresa Gamsky provided an update on COVID-19. Ms. Gamsky also provided the court with an executed resolution of Oldham County Board of Health establishing public health tax rate in the year of 2020 for Oldham County Public Health Taxing District. Judge Vogel commented resolution number 01-09-01-20 relating to the Oldham County Public Health tax rate as submitted did not require a vote since the tax rate did not change. Fire Chief Jim Sitzler and J.D. Tice, attorney for the LaGrange Fire Protection District, presented information and responded to questions from the court relating to the LaGrange Fire Protection District fiscal year 2021 budget and ad valorem tax rate. Fire Chief Eddie Turner presented information and responded to questions from the court relating to the South Oldham Fire Protection District fiscal year 2021 budget and ad valorem tax rate. Director of the Public Library Jessica Powell and Board Treasurer David Hutchinson presented information or responded to questions from the court relating to the Public Library Taxing District fiscal year 2021 budget and ad valorem tax rate. Retired Assistant Fire Chief David Pendleton presented information and responded to questions from the court relating to the Westport Fire Protection District fiscal year 2021 budget and ad valorem tax rate. The following sealed bids were opened and read aloud for the dump truck. Kentucky Truck Sales, Jeffersonville, Indiana, $130,249. Sternberg International, Jasper, Indiana, $134,985. Yule Truck Sales, Louisville, $135,393.04. Wausau Equipment, New Berlin, Wisconsin, $154,675. The following sealed bids for road paving were opened, read aloud, and given to the county engineer for review and recommendation. Group number 1 county with alternate number 1 and alternate number 2 amounts. Hall Contracting, Louisville, Kentucky, $1,201,810.11. $1,374,161.08. Libs Paving, Floyd Knobs, Indiana, $999,580.10. $1,120,720.82. Louisville Paving, Louisville, $964,841.10. $1,127,702.51. Mack Construction, New Albany, Indiana, $1,098,603.74. $1,365,739.56. Riverside Paving, Louisville, Kentucky, no bid. Wingham Paving, $1,020,224.90. $1,241,989.68. Group number 2, Pee Wee Valley. Hall Contracting, Louisville, Kentucky, $54,989.87. Libs Paving, Floyd Knobs, Indiana, $39,746.46. Louisville Paving, Louisville, Kentucky, $40,078.62. Mack Construction, New Albany, Indiana, $49,861.85. Riverside Paving, Louisville, Kentucky, $43,283.02. Wingham Paving, $44,471.03. Group number 3, LaGrange. E&B Paving, Clarksville, Indiana, $232,795.08. Hall Contracting, Louisville, Kentucky, $198,488,071. Libs Paving, Floyd Knobs, Indiana, $170,700.81. Louisville Paving, Louisville, Kentucky, $167,220.83. Mack Construction, New Albany, Indiana, $168,545.30. Riverside Parking, Louisville, Kentucky, $186,984. Wingham Paving, $175,297.50. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Dye to award the bid for the courtroom video recording system to Ring Central in the amount of $45,797 and to authorize the judge executive sign all contract documents with Ring Central as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Loxton and seconded by Magistrate Dye to approve the payables as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Contracts, resolutions. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to authorize the judge executive to sign the agreement for architectural consultant advisory services with LLH Studio as submitted. Discussion followed. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to amend the motion to not exceed $10,000. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Loxton and seconded by Magistrate Dye to authorize the judge executive to sign resolution number 02-09-01-20 relating to the forfeiture of the 2020-21 Rural Secondary Program Flex Funds allocation to KYTC for rural secondary road projects and concurs with the KYTC recommendation to perform maintenance on KY 2854 Dawkins Road and patching on state-maintained rural secondary routes at other various locations in Oldham County as submitted. Motion carried unanimously on a roll call vote. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Harrison upon recommendation of the county engineer to award the paving bid for the fall 2020 county projects to Libs Paving alternate number 2 bid, including overlay in the amount of $1,120,720.82 as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. There was no public comment. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting adjourned at 4:05 p.m.
You've heard the reading of our minutes from September 1st. Are there any corrections?
Judge,
Yes, sir.
Either one. A couple things. Going back to the public comment at the beginning of the meeting, I was thinking Ms. Bowman's concerns were mainly addressed to the medical community and not the Oldham County community at large.
Okay,
I think it makes more sense if we could add that adjective in there,
all right, we'll,
ill-treated by members of the medical community.
all right.
And then under the reports from the Fire Protection District and the other taxing districts, it doesn't make sense to me to just have in there that they talked about the ad valorem tax rate unless we mention what the rate is, what it is currently and what it's going to become for somebody who's reading these a year from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now.
All right,
It seems that would be relevant for each one of those. I know it's asking Denise to do more work, but maybe she
all
go
right.
back and pick that up.
Won't be a problem. Good suggestions. Measure Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. On the Group 3 LaGrange, at the bottom there, it says Riverside Parking, and I got a feeling that's supposed to be Riverside Paving, so.
Not always.
All
I know
right,
when you read that, you think, gosh darn it, you know.
anyone else? All right, hearing nothing else, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. It's time now for public comment. That's the time during our meeting when anyone from the community who would like to address the fiscal court about a community issue is able to do so. Is there anybody here at this point who would like to address the fiscal court? All right, seeing no one, I'm going to close public comment. And before we go further in the meeting, I would like to make an announcement. And that is, as of today, Oldham County Fiscal Court is adopting a new improved broadband strategy for all the residents of our community. To kick off this data-driven initiative, we're going to encourage everyone in Oldham County to take this survey to help them understand how we're going to prioritize and sort out the issues that are connected with internet connectivity. Now, this survey is open to all Oldham County residents, and it's available online as of now, and that the connection is oldhamfiber.servicezones.net, oldhamfiber.servicezones.net. Now, we have plotted every home and business in this county on a grid system, and this survey is going to track everybody that responds, and we're going to be able to, if you allow us, measure your up and down speed. So we're attempting to find out exactly where service is and is not in the county and how fast that speed is, what people have, who their provider is, and what they may be willing to go with the county on in the future. We're trying to have an open broadband system here that will allow us to have a very high speed. We'll have several choices of speeds, and will also allow you to access telemedicine, educational opportunities, smart home delivery services, and anything that's available on the internet. At the present time, some people in our county have good internet service, others have terrible service or no service at all. We're going to even the playing field over the next probably 36 months with great service opportunities for everyone. And I do emphasize 36 months because that's the timeline I've been given by the consultants. We won't be able to flip a switch and have everything happen overnight. But participants are welcome to use a cell phone, a tablet, or computer, any connected device they have to take this survey. Now, we're asking you to please try to take the survey from your home, because your home or business is where we're going to be able to measure your speed from. If you take this survey at your job in Louisville, it's not going to help us understand what the connectivity at your personal home is. We want to know that address and test optimal speeds, and so that our planners will be able to accurately map out accessibility and speed thresholds across the community. In the months ahead, citizen input is critical to this survey because the feedback that we get is going to help the planners develop the infrastructure overlay that's going to be used to plan out how we're going to do this in the most expeditious manner possible. We'll have our community partners and other partners to help us work this out above the ground, in the ground, and through wireless contacts. So we'll be taking, the survey is going to run for a while. We're not going to shut it off because we're going to keep pushing it through every way we can imagine in this county to get it out to people, because we do want everyone who has an internet connection to take this survey and participate. But even though the survey will be open, as soon as we start to decipher actionable patterns of usage and how the program can be built out, our consultants will be laying out the groundwork for this. The fiscal court expected to participate significantly in this project. We're looking also for grants, and we expect to have outside investment partners. This could run to be a $30 to $40 million project. So we're very excited. We've been working for a couple of years to identify a great consultant to work with and to lift this off the ground, because it's a concern that we all have. With COVID now and homeschooling and other things, internet connectivity is very important. So please, you don't worry about the link right now. You'll see it, you'll find it, we'll be publicizing it. It's oldhamfiber.servicezones.net. You can also go to the Oldham County Fiscal Court site. There's a link on there to the survey on Oldham County Fiscal Court if you want to just type in our name on the internet. So ask everyone to participate, to spread the word, and we'll all be excited about what is going to be coming to our community in the future. So
Judge.
thank you for listening. Yes, sir.
If I understood correctly what you said, the people who currently do not have internet will not and do not do the survey.
No, we'd like you to tell us if you'll have to go to some other device if you don't have one. If you don't have, you're going to have to tell us from somewhere that you don't have any service.
Yeah, but if they go
It's on the survey, we'll accept that. Kevin, you won't say something about that?
if they go to another site, you won't be able to determine the speed they have.
They'll be able to put in their address, though.
We also have Tina Schindler is one of our admins, and if you don't have access to a computer or don't have access to the internet, you can call Tina Schindler at 225-5115, and she will complete the survey for you. This will be just like we did when we started Smart 911. Some folks didn't have the ability to sign up. Tina will be able to sign you up for that. So again, that's 225-5115. That's Tina's direct office number.
Right, or call my office and we'll connect you. So, but no, we want everybody's address is in the system, but you'll have an opportunity to say that you don't have any service at all, and that we definitely want to know that.
All right, will that be on the website?
Yes.
Tina, name and number?
Yeah, we can get that on there, right?
All right, we'll post it. Thank you.
Steve?
Judge, do you have the kind of quirky addresses like Smithfield, Kentucky in the plan, in the mix here? In other words, I've got.
They are. Right,
Okay.
they are.
And so then I would say this needs to be front and center on what's happening in Oldham County on the first page, so you know that people get out of their mailbox.
Right, it will be.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we don't control the cover, but we do control the back page, so which is almost as good as the cover if you turn it over.
Keep telling yourself that, Judge.
So it'll be right. There is a story about this, and the link will be on what's happening. Will be coming out in a couple of weeks. And It's very prominent. It's right under your name and address, the story on what's happening and the link.
Judge, if that's gonna be on page 1, could the census follow-up be on page 2?
Census is in there. I don't know if we've got census in there, but we're doing fine on the census. We're actually number 7 out of 3,000 plus counties in the entire United States on response, percentage of people in the county responding to the census. So I'm proud of that. We're number 7. We'd like to be number 1, but out of 3,000, I think we're in pretty good standing, although we want everybody to complete the census as well. Sure do. Yes, sir.
There'll be no mail or anything other than the what's happening?
Pardon?
There'll be no mailer or anything else other than what's happening?
No, that's incorrect. There will be, internet attention. We have stuffers for envelopes. We have a program to identify, we have billboards. We have a program to identify fiber champions for neighborhoods. We call them fiber hoods that will help, spread the word. We've got multiple ways to do this. We have placemats for restaurants that bring this up. So we'll be pushing it a lot of different ways.
Are they buying any social media where you like those pop-up ads?
Pardon?
They buying any social media like the pop-up ads you see?
Not yet, but
All right, thank
we
you.
can. All right, we'll go on now with today's agenda, and the first presentation today is from the Oldham Authority, Oldham LaGrange Development Authority, a budget presentation. David Bazanis is here along with Jim Tutt, and we do have a plexiglass screen attached to the front of our podium here, so it is not necessary to wear a mask when you come to speak. We prefer that people have an opportunity to take a good look at you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Judge Vogel and magistrates. My name is David Bazanis. I am the Executive Director of the Oldham LaGrange Development Authority, and I also serve as the President for the Oldham Chamber and Economic Development Organization as well. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you and present our budgets for both organizations. I provided those to Ms. Clark a couple of days ago for your review, and I have a brief presentation I'd like to go through. If it's okay, I'd like to go through OLDA and then take any questions that you might have, and then present on the chamber and take other questions. Is that okay?
Sure, sir.
Wonderful. And I thought for the people who may be viewing on YouTube or Facebook or on cable or here today, we could use a little bit of a brief overview of the project for the Oldham Reserve project. The Oldham LaGrange Development Authority is a board of directors made up of 3 county appointments and 3 city appointments that are responsible for overseeing the development of the 1,000-acre business park, Oldham Reserve, located here in LaGrange, that has our top employer, the Rawlings Group there, who has over 1,600 employees currently, after moving here in 2005 with 500. It's been a wonderful project that is a massive undertaking, but shows the vision of the city and the county and the need to grow our tax base, improve our infrastructure, and bring in good quality sustaining jobs. The board consists of Chairman Jim Tutt, who I'll be introducing here momentarily, our Vice Chair, Magistrate Bob Dye, a new board member, and now Secretary and Treasurer Fred Tolsdorf. Stephen Edwards is a county appointment, George Flickner, and also another new board member, John Stewart. It's probably at this point I should mention that we have had 2 really tremendous board members recently roll off of the board that have made space for Fred Tolsdorf and John Stewart. And they have been significant contributors to the overall project for many, many years, that being Dr. Blake Hazelton and former Judge Executive Dwayne Murner. And so we're very grateful for the leadership that they've shown over the many years of the project, and excited about the success we're starting to see. That board of directors entered into a master development agreement with a group of developers, John Hollenbach, Greg Oakley, and Talmadge Hawker, a few years ago. That group is responsible for marketing and developing the park. In addition to that, our office, the Chamber and Economic Development Office, serves as the staff for the Oldham LaGrange Development Authority, where we are the administrative arm, manage the day-to-day business for the property, and then also work and collaborate with OR partners, Hollenbach and Oakley and Hawker, to develop the park and market it to get more development into the park. The objectives of the park, as I mentioned before, are to diversify the tax base, create quality, sustainable jobs, and improve infrastructure. This investment that the city and the county made many years ago has taken a while to get off the ground. However, it has been a great success for many years due to the growth of our top employer in the Rawlings Group. Moving to Oldham County at the time that they did and adding an additional 1,100 employees have been a major contributor to our tax base, to the city of LaGrange, and the economic impact to all of our small business community and the other businesses around has been tremendous. That vision for a place for those types of businesses is the intention of the park. However, for many years we have struggled with, as the Rawlings Group has grown and contributed so much to our community, it has actually imposed a lot of pressure on the accessibility of the park, making it a little bit harder to continue to sell land. With the efforts of the LaGrange City Council and with this body, with our office and many parties and my predecessor, many of your predecessors, for many years we've been working on improving the infrastructure around the park so that we could be more successful in obtaining additional tenants. Since that time, we have seen the ribbon cutting on the Louis Dampier Bridge, the ribbon cutting on LaGrange Parkway, this fiscal court now investing in the extension of Eden Parkway, a new interchange at exit 20, and over $88 million of new infrastructure projects that are feeding the business development of Oldham County. So from that, we have developed a lot of attention that we've been able to get as our office goes out and tells our story to the local brokerage community, as we've traveled to multiple times to Cincinnati and places like Nashville and Indianapolis to talk to their brokerage community. We have a great story to tell about what's happening here, not just in the county, but also in Oldham Reserve. It has also garnered the attention of Business First, which is a premier business publication here in our region that's read by a lot of the commercial real estate developers and brokerage community, as well as business leaders. And actually our title cover page article mentioned as economic development being the next economic development. We are the next economic development juggernaut for the state of Kentucky with that potential, which is something we're very excited about, that being the message that's getting out there as we go and tell our story. I'd like you to, if you have not seen that article, to take a look at it. It does a great job of really thoroughly explaining the development that's happened across the county, from everything from the Clore Farms project to Oldham Reserve, to the amenity development, the new hotels, Third Turn Brewing, the growth of a Kentucky Artisan Distillery, and a lot of the success we've seen over the last few years. And also, like I mentioned, this project with the Oldham Reserve is a massive project. We have 1,000 acres to develop. And the collaboration between agencies is very important, and we have a very healthy and functional group. The effort is included not just the federal government, the state legislature, this fiscal court, and the city of LaGrange, the Oldham County Planning and Development Office, Jim Silliman and Jim Urban, who've done a fantastic job in making everything happen efficiently and quickly. Our chamber office, myself and Sandy Hamilton, and then, of course, our development partners in John Hollenbach, Greg Oakley, and Talmadge Hawker. So our hopes is to continue with this infrastructure success, to continue to market and tell the story of what we have available. And with that, I would like to introduce our chairman, Jim Tutt, to talk to you a little bit more about the project.
Thank you, David. I do appreciate the opportunity to take the mask off. You know, I'm a banker, and I have clients who say, you know, I never thought that I'd see the day when I walked into I had to wear a mask to walk into a bank and ask for money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Strange times that we're in, for sure. I really don't have a lot to add to David. He does a very nice job of articulating the background. And it's been my honor and privilege to serve on the Oldham board now for, I think, for about 10 years, and the last 4 or 5 as chairman, succeeding Don Basham, who did an outstanding job before me. And I wanted to make just a few comments about Oldham Reserve strategically and maybe philosophically. Oldham Reserve is intended to set a pretty high bar at the end of the day. We've got the vision of pretty substantial architectural restrictions. LaGrange Parkway, in and of itself, as you drive it, is really beautiful. And it was determined very early on, after Rawlings came to town, that that we were about to become a victim of our own success, because Rawlings, crossing over the 1,000 employee mark, it became very clear quickly that 53 at that intersection with exit 22 just did not have the capacity to handle the traffic. And so there has been a lot of effort put in place to deal with that over the last 5 or 6 years. We're about ready to kind of bring that to a head with now the extension of Eden Parkway down the hill to intersect with LaGrange Parkway. And that's going to be the primary corridor. It's going to complete the backbone through the park. With that intersection, now you're going to basically have accessibility through pretty much the entire park. We're also adding a roundabout at the top of the hill, which is just beyond where Eden Parkway currently ends, which is being envisioned as having the potential to be a town center type of concept. I think that's really interesting. The other thing that's really important about this Eden Parkway extension is in concert with the new exit, what we call exit 20, with the ramps on the Louis Dampier Bridge, is that in order to expedite that and not impact certain residences, the intersection was designed with a jug handle on the north side. And the result of that is that New Moody Lane, as it currently exists, is no longer going to cross through to intersect with LaGrange Parkway. It'll become a cul-de-sac. Now that's somewhat temporary, and our longer term vision is that New Moody will actually be rerouted and intersect in a different spot. But for the and what that will create actually is an opportunity for additional development of potentially hotels and restaurants in that corridor that will be accessible from the new exit 20, whereas there's really no developable land off of exit 22. So we're excited about that. And just emphasizes the importance. You couldn't do the intersection exit 20 without the extension of Eden Parkway, because you basically wouldn't have a way for Rawlings employees without going back out onto 53 to get to the new interchange. So it's pretty critical. I'm also pleased to announce that we have entered into a purchase and sale agreement for 6.77 acres that is near the roundabout, but not on the roundabout. And I think I'm being told that I'm not at liberty to say who the ultimate occupant of that property is going to be. However, the buyer, and this is public record, is Ramsey Development. And you can see it up on the screen. It's the tract in red, which is called 20B. And 20B is going to require an additional extension of utilities and also an extension of what we call Peak Road to the east in order to have access to that tract. But it will also provide additional access for a couple of additional tracts as well. We'll also benefit from taking essentially raw land where we're not paying any property taxes today, and there'll be taxes paid
To-
on a project that's probably $15 million, 15 to 20 million. So that will be a benefit for the county, as well as, David, how many employees?
125 employees.
125 employees. So we're really thrilled that this is our first big step forward with a land sale, with a user, quality jobs, and that complements our future vision for the park. The last thing I would say about the future vision for the park, a couple of things. One is, this is a pretty important vision for Oldham County. And at the end of the day, if you don't have somewhere for businesses to go, then they're never going to come. So, I mean, and I realize this has taken a really long time, and there's a lot of different reasons for that, and we could go into, but as far as how far out we are, but the foresight to actually create a destination and establish that fairly high bar was going to serve Oldham County well down the road. And at the end of the day, again, if you don't have some place for a quality business to want to come to, and if you're not ready for them to come, when they make that decision, you need to be ready for them to facilitate opening their doors within 12 to 24 months. That means you don't have time to build a road, you don't have time to build an interstate interchange, you don't have time to put in sewers, typically. You got to have all that ready to go and for them to come. And that's what we've been doing during this time, is basically getting this project ready to go. And we're increasingly making progress on that every year. I'd be happy to respond to questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Tutt or Mr. Bazanis? Magistrate Hounds.
First, I guess congratulations on the contract. That's big.
Thank you.
I've been to a couple of the Oldham meetings, and you guys have talked about this for the 4 years I've been around attending them. I think that this is one of those things, kind of like the Field of Dreams. You build it, and they will come. Once we've got the Rawlings Group. This is a different type of tenant, and hopefully we can show people that we have this great piece of land and we have multiple uses, and we can start drawing some more interest in. And I applaud you guys for your efforts that you've done to this point, and can't wait to do the ribbon cutting in, 24 to 36 months.
Thank you. And we do have, I think we've got a lot to be proud of there. There's a lot of effort that's gone into that. The contribution of our developer partners has been invaluable in interfacing with the buyer. Really, you need to have somebody who knows the business to be able to negotiate with someone else who's also coming from the same point of reference.
Magistrate Harrison.
Yes, who is going to be responsible, or what is going to be responsible for the final installation of the utilities that we do not have out there yet? You mentioned things need to be ready for somebody to come in, purchase, and be able to open their doors, but aren't we short on a few utilities?
Well, we're looking at it in phases at this point. So right now, the key is to have the avenue for the traffic to be able to get onto I-71. That's critical. Also critical are the utilities. And our focus at this point is using this Peak Road as kind of the ridge line.
Where is north?
So if you look at the round, you can see the roundabout, right? That's where Eden Parkway.
But I understand that.
Okay.
Right.
So the Peak Road is going this way and this way, and that essentially is on the ridge line for gravity feed of sewers back to.
Understand that. Who's
Okay.
going to fund it? That was my question. Not what's missing, but who's going to fund it? I know what's missing.
The fiscal court in the city of LaGrange are going to fund the installation of these utilities. And then we'll be paid back by land sales.
All right, because I'm getting that question from other people.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Right.
Right, so, for example, the Eden Parkway, the bid for Eden Parkway is $2,740,000. We are going to, because that is essentially a piece of backbone infrastructure for access through the park, we're spreading the cost of that through the remaining acreage that's saleable in the park. And we have a formula for that. And it is essentially going to increase the release price per acre from $32,412 to by $3,662 to $36,074 an acre. That will be the release price before additional infrastructure costs are taken into consideration.
That's not the land sales price. That's just the
No,
bare bones minimum to split between the city and the county and the developer and Oldham and everybody else who is in on the first distribution of cash.
well, and in fact, the 6.77 acres have it's a little bit of a convoluted formula, but the net selling price per acre is $150,000. And so what we're doing is we're taking, that project is contributing $586,000 towards the infrastructure that's needed to bring the utilities to the site. And then we are, the city and the county are contributing $244,000 of the release price, which is from the sales proceeds also from the 6.7 acres. And then an additional estimated $1,020,000 to complete that infrastructure. That will be considered essentially an advance against the infrastructure fund that's built into the way that the park will function as land is sold in the future. So then you can, I've actually got an example that we can provide, but I don't know that we've got time to, dive into the weeds with that today. But when additional acreage is sold, then net of the $36,000 per acre release price, anything above and beyond that, after paying commissions, would actually go to paying that infrastructure cost back and providing for future infrastructure.
Will we be installing utilities for all of the park or just to each lot as sold?
Right now, the intent would be that the developer would be responsible for finding a way to do that. We're in the process of transitioning under our agreement with them that they will take title to certain amounts of acreage. And as they do that, then they will also be expected to actually front the cost of the utilities. If they need help, then they'll have to come and ask us for it and negotiate on what terms that would be done.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to ask any questions about this? All
Very
right.
good.
All right, thank you. We're making some progress here. Appreciate that a lot of hard work has gone in. We've been working on this for a long time to develop this, and Jim has done a great job. David has done a great job, and our Oldham board. And I do want to thank Blake Hazelton and Dwayne Murner
Yes.
for, hundreds of hours have been put in to try to make something happen. And it's not been easy, in part because we haven't had the infrastructure, and that includes the roadways, a critical element to get in and out of the park.
Yes.
And we've
Yes.
finally gotten the money from the legislature. We've worked hard on that for several years to get the funding for these off-ramps. And once the off-ramps are in, we're looking for pretty much an explosion at that point, because
And that's the
this is
feedback we've
valuable
gotten.
property in the metropolitan area, but access has been a challenge, but we're getting it piece by piece. So,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you very much. Okay, now I think David has another
I'm still going.
discussion here regarding the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Okay, thank you. In addition to our role working with the Oldham LaGrange Development Authority, our office also is responsible for our Chamber of Commerce. And one of the things that we have experienced in 2020, like many people, is a lot of change recently. We are, just to give you a background, we are a private-public partnership, and our organization is represented by a board of directors, 9 of whom are elected by our chamber membership from the business community. 5 of those are appointed, 3 from this body, the Oldham County Fiscal Court, 1 from the city of LaGrange, 1 from the city of Crestwood. We also have a board appointment, our board chair appointment as part of the staff board of directors as well. Our staffing works out, as you can see in front of you. My position as president, Sandy Hamilton as our vice president. And then recently we have hired a new director of chamber services, Mr. Andrew Tutt, who's here today. So this is his first fiscal court appearance. I'll be talking about his role here shortly. And then again, we serve as staff for the Oldham Board. We also break down into committees that review economic development, they review membership activity and our program development, and then committees as necessary, whether it's for a signature event we have, like a golf scramble or a celebration of women luncheon that we have in the spring, or for public policy issues similar to the effort that we did with the wet vote a few years back. This is a list of our board of directors. Our new board chairman is Clint Cahoe, president of Baptist Health LaGrange. Our past chair, Christy Paulin, is from Fastline Media Group, who served with us very well in the last 2 years. And then the fiscal court appointees, Gary Hardy, Jason Morgan, and Ken Stess from United Citizens Bank, Stockyards Bank, and Ken Stess from S&A Insurance. Those are all wonderful contributing board members. We appreciate your appointment of them to our group. The Chamber is responsible for putting on programs and events to help network and connect the business community here in Oldham County. The largest representation of business members that we have in Chamber membership come from the city of LaGrange. The second largest come from the city of Louisville. We have a lot of companies and businesses that are in the Louisville area that want to invest time and money in the county. And what we try to do is put on services and provide opportunities for people to be able to grow their business and hire employees. And part of the role that Andrew is filling has been a retooling of a role that we had had previously, in which case he's going to be a lot more of a boots on the ground position, where he's going out and sitting down with our business community. One of the advantages that we have as an organization, being a merged entity, Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development, is that our responsibilities are for the entire business community, not just serving our chamber members, which we love to do. But we are invested in all of the business's success here, not just our chamber members. So it's something I always want to make sure I point out. Last year, we hosted over 80 events in 2019 and 2020. A lot of those events came to a screeching halt in the spring when the COVID-19 pandemic presented itself. So we have really had to change our approach to what it takes to create a valuable chamber membership and opportunities for a lot of these suffering business owners to be able to continue to grow their business. And what we've done, in addition to putting a hold on some of our larger in-person events like Celebration of Women, like our holiday party, like the Oldham County of the Year dinner, is try to take a little bit more of an innovative approach on how we can be front and center with business resources, but also provide some opportunities that they can get together face-to-face. And from that, we've created 3 free events that happen each month, those being our EDGE workshops for professional development, our Power Hour luncheon, and our Coffee Talks morning coffee get-togethers. We limit those events currently to 20 people. They were getting a 30 and 40 person type of attendance pre-COVID, but we're able to do it this way and have it at some venues here where we can still observe some social distancing rules and give everybody a comfortable environment to be able to connect. We also have a lot of members who are struggling right now. We have a lot of people who are behind on their dues. We are not dropping them from the rolls. We are trying to get out to meet with them. We believe that our businesses that are in trouble right now or that are struggling with the shutdown and the effect of the shutdown need their chamber resources more than ever now, so we feel like it's a prudent thing is to continue to extend them the ability to come to these events and do that, and we have several that are doing just that. In addition to that, we have created a podcast network, and on September 1st, we launched our first podcast that's part of the network. The goal of our network is to house multiple podcasts that are Oldham County centric, that cover everything from Oldham County business to the Oldham County arts. And the first podcast we've launched is the Oldham County History Center podcast, and we currently have a 30-day series going on, which is the 30 days on the Underground Railroad in Kentucky. And so these are stories of the Underground Railroad that Nancy Tice, our History Center Director, has done a tremendous job of gathering this amount of content. And each day we've released a new podcast of someone who is involved at the History Center to read the story. And so far, after releasing 15 of these episodes, we've had over 500 downloads already. And we're excited about the potential of this. It's getting shared and spread by the National Underground Railroad Society, and many of the people who were readers actually were phoning in to read over the phone from different parts of the country. So we like the ability of creating content that's about our community, but having it being consumed out there in other areas. Just helps raise some awareness, and I think creates kind of a clever way for us to promote what we have in the community. If you're interested, and we would like you to subscribe to the podcast, you can listen to them on your phone, you can Bluetooth them into your car, at your computer. You can go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher and search for the Oldham Podcast Network, and you'll be able to subscribe to each of those. And if you feel like doing so, please leave a very positive review. The Chamber podcast will come out next week. We also have an Oldham County Tourism podcast. We have reached out to the Main Street Association for a podcast, and we also have a legislative review podcast that we'll be launching here shortly. So the idea is that the Chamber has invested in the equipment, and we will provide a place for, if you are in Oldham County and you have an idea for a story or a podcast or a show that you could host, let us know. You can come record it for no cost, and we'll give you the audio that you can go market how you would like. And if it's something that we think is relevant to our network, we'd love to put it on there. In addition to that, I want to talk about the collaboration that I believe is a really paramount importance in our ability to be successful. We work very closely. Obviously, the Chamber and Economic Development merged back in 2010. Our office works very closely with Oldham County Tourism and LaGrange Main Street Association, and looking forward to, as the LaGrange Tourism Association decides on a director at some point, we'll working with them and pulling them into what I feel like is a very collaborative team environment that we're very excited to be able to celebrate. I get to visit a lot of other communities and see how their business services are work together, and a lot of times we have people working in a lot of silos, and I'm pleased to report that we will be increasing the amount of collaboration between these entities, as we have purchased recently a new headquarters for the Chamber. It's located at 204 South First Avenue, about 2 doors down from City Place. We purchased the property back in the fall of 2019 and hope to actually start occupying the space the week of September 20th. This is a milestone for our Chamber of Commerce. In over 54 years, the entirety of the Chamber history, we have been staying in someone else's property as out of their generosity, whether it was some property the Fiscal Court had or one of the local business leaders had given us office space. That's where we've always had to kind of work. It wasn't until Mr. Rawlings was able to give us a facility like City Place that allowed us to really bring a higher profile to our office setting, which is important as we host meetings with Fortune 500 companies and as we try to recruit business to Oldham County. And that facility has been a real blessing to our organization, and in part has made it possible for us to continue to save money so that we could make an investment in this property. Mr. Rawlings came to us about a year ago and let us know that his foundation offices, he was going to move into City Place. And in addition to helping us and being very cordial with the amount of time that he was able to give us to transition out, gave us a very nice donation to help us with our building project. So we're excited about that. The point of the headquarters project, in addition to housing the Chamber, is to offer some space, collaborative meeting space for the business community, a place where we can put on additional workshops and presentations, a place to house our podcasting studio I was just referring to, have regular outdoor events. The parking lot area of the facility, which is being worked on to hopefully get paved here very soon, I think is going to create a wonderful impact on the entrance of the LaGrange business community, downtown business corridor, as people are making their approach to Main Street. So we're very excited about that. Another development that we've had in the last several weeks has been our working with the Director of Tourism, Kim Buckler, who has been housed in Crestwood for many, many years, who does an excellent job, and we have been able to entice her into joining us in the Chamber building. So this headquarters is not just a headquarters for us, it is also a headquarters and a home to Oldham County Tourism, and we're excited to have that organization back in LaGrange. And just a street away from our LaGrange Main Street Association, so we can continue to grow this business community. I think that's all that I have. I'm willing to answer any questions if you have some.
All right, thank you, David. As you know, several months ago, I asked tourism to consider moving into this building, and we've been able to negotiate that. We need a joint effort here between the tourism and our Chamber of Commerce, and also downtown LaGrange, the business district. And I think putting everybody's head together is going to make the sum of the parts, the result will be bigger than the sum of the parts,
That's right.
Something like that I'm trying to say. I also would, I see your drawing there for the building. It looks nice. I would still encourage you to get some flags to hang off the top of that building. People see flags when they drive by. It raises their awareness, and it catches my eye anytime I see them. You mentioned podcast. I like the podcast idea. As everyone knows, we don't have a radio station in this county. The way that streaming has developed and gone, if you're willing to forego over-the-air type of radio station, you can create an internet radio station, which would be a great thing to have in Oldham County. A podcast is just a step back from that and has the potential to communicate well with people. So I appreciate that. Before you leave, I want you to, here's something I want you to get on your, I would like to have you get on your Chamber website. It has to do with a internet broadband
We're all
survey. And we, with 400 members, that'll be a good place to get the word out there quickly. So, does anybody have some questions? I see some hands. Magistrate Hawkins.
Thank you for that presentation. I wanted to mention, you mentioned Nancy Tice, and she's just such an asset, and we're very fortunate to have her. And these podcasts, I wanted to second them. They're pretty amazing, and she's very exceptional. So we're fortunate to have her.
Well, yes.
Just wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
Magistrate Logston.
David, is this presentation on the website that can be viewed?
No, but I can send it to you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? Magistrate Dye.
I just like to give kudos to David and his staff. I've been working with them through the ODA board, even with his predecessor. But David's brought he's raised the bar over at the chamber. This is not a compensated comment, by the way, but he's done a great job. He always picks up his phone, and just like the people on the ODA board that I work with, everybody. Sometimes the track's a little rusty, but we do keep the train on the track and rowing a boat in the same direction. So it's just like dealing with another group of people like here on Fiscal Court. Everybody works together, and it's just very satisfying. So David, just keep up the good work, and I want to hear another contract get let.
Sounds good. Thank you, Magistrate.
All right, thank you, David. Appreciate you being here
Thank
today.
you.
Jim Tutt, thank you. Our next presentation here is from the Oldham County Extension District Board. Kelly Woods is here, and David Dybel. I know you. They've got Kelly on my sheet here, and then I know you, David. So,
Thank you, Judge.
David's chairman of the board.
I was just going to say that. Judge Vogel and magistrates, I'm David Dybel, and I'm chairman of the board of Oldham County Extension District, and I'm here today to present our tax rates. I think you have copies of this in front of you. Our compensating rates for this year are real property, 1.36 cents per hundred, personal property, 146 per hundred, inventory, 146 per hundred, motor vehicle and watercraft, 1.5 cents per hundred. Our budget for this year is personnel is $856,842. Under that is personnel, $294,912. Operations is $415,330. Administration, $30,600, and capital outlay is $116,000. Increases in operation this year are due to additional building expenses and repairs since the board now owns these buildings. Added costs for outdoor maintenance, building monitoring, new roof siding, and landscape needs. One of the things that I'd like to bring out before I make some comments about of our accomplishments is the fact the building monitoring. There has been some problems of homeless people up there, and they seem to want to reside in the woods behind the building and actually on some of our properties. So I wanted to make the county aware of that. If you will give me time, I would like to present some of our accomplishments this past year. Oldham County Extension has had 120,000 contacts with Oldham County citizens this past year. And you say, how can you do that? Well, that includes phone, walk-in, email request, and information for services, and our program and club participation and farm visits. One of the things that we're most proud of this year, the 4-H camp had to be stopped because of the COVID virus, and we had a project called 4-H Porch Projects. And these focused on science, engineering, technology, agriculture, visual arts, and health. And they were made available to 100 families weekly. A total of 800 kits was distributed over an 8-week period of time. This was such a success that we partnered with the library, and we provided 500 porch projects each week, July the 3rd through June the 3rd through July the 22nd. That was made available to all Oldham County residents. In addition to the projects, we delivered summer feeding sites and food banks. Out of this, a total of 3,000 porch projects were distributed across the county. We had a 4-H club member, Ella Olds, who received a 4-H State Gold Award. 4-H club member, Andrew Myers, is one of 7 adults across the state that was selected to serve as an ambassador for the Kentucky 4-H shooting sports program, which is so very important to teach young people how to properly handle guns. 4-H involved 225 members in the 4-H public speaking program. Oldham County 4-H had 3 of the 4-H members advance to the state 4-H virtual communications event. 4-H chess schools enabled middle school students to master the art of food preparation. Another thing that was very important that we did this year, we offered an addiction 101 class on addiction and recovery. 60 substance abuse recovery participants graduated from this, and it was choices of 7-part focusing on development of life skills, expanded food and nutrition education programs. Oldham County Homemakers also had a hands program for new parents with donations of food, of books, and handmade blankets for new parents. Oldham County Extension piloted a Master Horseman program to provide educational support for the county's top agricultural commodity. The Oldham County Ag Connection was formed to provide education and network for farmers, gardeners, residents, and local government officials. 60 farm visits were made to provide technical support on crop and livestock production and facilities. We had a Master Gardener program that organized and offered 13 horticulture classes for residents at the Extension Office. And these Master Gardeners also contributed many hours of service to the 2 tourist destinations in Oldham County, 2 of the tourist destinations in Oldham County, Udell Gardens and Creasy Mahan Nature Preserve. One of the accomplishments that we're proud of is Oldham County cattle producer John Bernaski was selected to be inducted into the Kentucky Cattlemen's Association Hall of Fame. Oldham County cattle producers installed many feeding pads, fence line feeding systems, and changed the way they fed hay to increase feed efficiency, improve animal health, and prevent soil and manure runoff. These were partnered by the Oldham County Extension and Oldham County Cattlemen's Association. If you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them.
Anybody have any questions? Do you have any idea why the compensating rate reduced your 1.5% tax revenue on real property, personal property, inventory, but why not motor vehicles and watercrafts?
Why it was what, Judge?
Why did that one not decrease?
Why is it that? And
Yes.
our compensating tax rate is sent to us from the University of Kentucky. That's how we establish that.
Okay. But the compensating rate is basically the rate that gives you the same amount of revenue you collected last year.
And this is basically the same. It's
Right. I was just curious why 3 of the 4 revenue sources decreased, but 1 did not. I guess there's probably a good reason for it. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know how they come up with that, but that's what was sent to us.
Yeah, okay, well. All right, well, David, I appreciate your leadership at the Extension District. You're dedicated and, person who's given a lot. This is another no-pay job. It's a love of labor, and I know you're extremely dedicated, and I do appreciate the leadership you've provided at the Extension District. And I appreciate what the ladies and the entire staff is doing. And
Well, it's a joint service, and actually our staff gets the credit, not me. We have an excellent staff, and they provide a lot of service to the citizens of Oldham County.
And I know that the mayor is here, so we'll ask him to talk with the LaGrange police. For whatever reason, people have been
I have spoke to him.
camping behind the building, and
Right.
can't have that.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, magistrates.
The next item on the agenda has to do with bid openings. We have a couple of them here, and we've noticed that Melissa has gotten a new wagon to haul all the bids in with, so they're no longer just carried in, they're rolled in now. So, well, the first one has to do with, this is for the Old Floydsburg Road project, and we're doing work there, and this is to improve safety by correcting the geometric deficiencies, replace narrow one-lane culvert crossings, clear trees and vegetation out of the right-of-way, and add a shoulder to the road, and add signage for safety. I believe we have 4 bidders for this project. The first bid is from Louisville Paving, $780,000. Next bid is from Mac Construction, $812,770. The third bid is from Flynn Brothers, $1,004,612. And the fourth bid is from Todd Johnson Contracting, $960,838.11. Right, I'm going to ask Jim Sullivan, or you want to take them? Okay, Melissa will hold on to it. And we plan on awarding this today or next week, the next meeting? All right, we'll wait till the October meeting. Pardon me? You have an estimate, Jim, on that project? Linda does? All right.
Yeah, the engineer's estimate was $786,123.25.
The engineering estimate was $786,121 and some cents.
23 and 25 cents.
Okay, 123 and 25 cents. Okay, thank you. All right, now we're going to open the bids for some playground equipment at Briar Hill. And you can see that some of these packages are pretty good size. In here. This one is from Miracle, is that right? Miracle of Kentucky and Tennessee, $45,000.
45,000?
$45,000. And we'll see what this is here. Is this from Miracle? Goes with this one, all right.
And that was option one, I take it?
Yes, that was option
Okay.
Is there more than one option in here?
There's more than one option for, yeah.
Okay. Okay, where's the, yes, what, where's this?
Option two's coming.
Oh, okay, it's not in that package there, okay. All right, what do we have here? This is a artist drawing of the equipment they're quoting, right? Is that right? And I don't know how to show this to everybody. Maybe Melissa, you want to hold it up on your end over there?
Which way do we hold it up?
Option one is actually the second one, apparently. Those all say option one. Maybe turn it around and let the court see it. And, all right, you can hold it at the podium.
I didn't pay for this part.
Good idea. All right. Thank you. That looks. It's interesting how playground equipment has changed over the years from I was a kid. Here's the next one is a flat 50,000 for this one. That's Miracle option two. Yes, even. All right, right, Melissa, we'll let you hold these up for people to see. I guess
It looks the same.
you're right, it adds, it's somewhat the same, but it adds a little bit more to the circumstance. Okay, you want to maybe turn them around there. Our camera system here is not exactly set up to capture pictures, but, all right, the next one. This goes with Miracle there. It's, I think that's
Oh, they're electronic.
electronic version there. I don't know if Denise was warned on what she's going to have to open up here today. Or All right. This is from Topia, or Playtopia, it says here. And $48,337.75. Do they have more than one?
It's only one package, so I don't know if they.
And as all of you know, I drive for the Board of Education, a school bus, and for the last 7 years, we've done nothing but buy Freightliners. And I would suggest to the Board of Education that they get a different one also, just to, level the playing field and to make things competitive. In other words, if the company that you're going to, buy from knows that they're going to get the bid, then where's the incentive to price it competitively? That's just my opinion on the thing. International Harvester is a fantastic piece of equipment, but I also believe Freightliner is also.
Have you ever worked with the Kentucky truck sales? They seem to be the lowest one.
They are the lowest one, and I have not personally worked with them, but I know people that have, and they say they're a good company.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
if we're going to hear one side of the argument, should we hear both?
Yes.
All right. The truck that the committee selected was the one that's recommended by the head of the road department and also by the mechanic at the road department. And I feel that we should give more weight to them than to our personal opinions, and I will go with what the department heads recommend. If we can't trust them, then we should get somebody else, but I trust them.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Who's the third member of that committee? And what is their opinion?
The three members of the committee are Magistrate Logston, Magistrate Harrison, and myself.
Can we hear from Magistrate Logsdon?
I went along with what the recommendation for the road committee, or the road department said. So, they're used to working with that equipment, they're used to working with that trucks. They've got the equipment to work on them, so that's why I went with them. I mean, just because something's lower doesn't always mean it's the best. But I agree with Steve also. I mean, when you keep getting the same bid over and over for the same truck, maybe we need to do something different, but I took the recommendation of our engineer, or not our engineer, but our road department superintendent, because that's what he works with all the time, so.
So are the other vehicles in the fleet that same brand that the committee recommended?
They are.
Okay.
So, I mean, they know the equipment, they know how to work on them, stuff like that. So, that's the reason why I went with it, so.
Ben, you guys kind of fix your own equipment, don't you?
A lot of those trucks will actually keep parts for there at our shop, but we've dealt with the international. We do keep a lot of the service materials there at our shop for the trucks as far as maintenance, oil changes, belts, stuff like that. It's just, we felt it easier to keep that material there for that specific truck versus having a Chevy, a Ford, you know what I mean? You keep your
Right.
fleet the same. It's a lot easier to maintain that way, and we've had a really good establishment with Yule Truck. they've worked on stuff that's been out of warranty for us. They've actually taken trucks in like that in the wintertime in emergency situations, and we know the trucks. We know the ins and outs, and they've done great since we've owned them. And that's pretty much all we have down there right now are all international trucks.
Do you have any of the brand that the Kentucky Truck Sales, the Freightliners?
I don't have a single one, and I understand Steve's concern as well. Like I said, but it's kind of like if you're a Ford guy, you're a Ford guy. If you're a Dodge guy, you're a Dodge. It's kind of like one of those things. You get stuck in it. You kind of know the truck. You know the equipment. You know how to. You know the ins and outs of it. And we're in a position when it gets. If you've got 5 different trucks and one of them breaks, well, I don't have the parts for this one. I've got to wait a month, or I've got the parts waiting here for this and get it back on the road type thing. That's what we've always been used to.
I understand having a consistent fleet is important,
Very
especially if you're the one maintaining them.
exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Measure Tice.
First question is Kentucky Truck Sales. What type of truck do they sell? Or was that mentioned? What type
It's a
did they bid?
Freightliner. Freightliner truck.
It's a Freightliner, okay. And we're recommending buying them from Ewell Truck Sales?
That's who we've dealt with
Yes.
in the past.
Okay. And it's only $400. Is that the reason you're buying it from
No,
them rather than
5,000.
somebody else?
5,000.
No, let me stop. I said that wrong. The Ewell Truck Sales versus the Sternberg International. I assume they're bidding the same truck.
It's
No.
really similar to the same truck. There might be a couple subtle differences on it, but as far as the truck itself, I mean, it's basically what we already have.
Okay.
We've dealt, like I said, with Ewell so many times in the past, and they've done great service work, and their service department's, it's spot on. It's
So you think we could lose the $400 the first time we need something?
Oh, yeah.
Is it- No,
Number
I'm talking
one,
about
what they've
difference between
Oh, it's okay.
134,000 versus 135,000.
No.
And it's
Constant
close by
comparison.
our shop, that's the main thing too. We don't have
Got
to
it.
drive, it's right there in Louisville, versus driving up to Indiana or other truck, everything is, we're just so used to using that company, it's right there.
Well, I assume they'd sell us the same parts and cover the same warranty, even if we bought it from another dealer.
Not necessarily,
Okay.
not
That's-
necessarily.
And it's only $400, but I'm just asking, we're paying, huh?
That's not the one we're talking about. The first choice.
Who's the first choice?
That's, Greenwell wants this one, and the committee.
No, I just asked this, but what I'm talking about is the difference between Sternberg and Ewell we're paying $400 more for relatively the same exact truck. They're both internationals. That's what I was getting.
And that could be blown out the window the first time they say, oh, well, that's not under the warranty versus Ewell saying, we'll help you out. And they've done that. We've had some air conditioning problems. And
You understand what I was
Yeah,
asking?
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
could I raise a parliamentary procedure question?
I guess.
Well, it was always my understanding that a committee recommendation came in as a motion not requiring a second. And I don't understand how we get to the point where we're questioning the people who are on the committee and how they voted and what difference does it make what the vote was on the committee. The committee made a recommendation, and the court should consider it and vote on it. That's always been my understanding, Mr. Carter.
Well, I can't get my microphone to work. They turned it off. No. We have a motion and a second, correct?
Yes?
Then you have discussion. I mean,
That was not my question, sir.
well, what was your question?
My question was, the committee considered this, and the committee voted to go one route, and they come to the court with a recommendation from the committee. It's my understanding that the recommendation from a committee is the same as a motion, but it does not require a second. We've gone way beyond that. Now we're discussing who voted how and why they voted.
Well, I think the fiscal court can ask any questions they want to about a motion
That's not
that's
the
on the
point,
floor.
Mr. Carter. The point is, the chairman of the committee made a report and gave the vote as being 2-1, and now we're debating who said what about which truck. And I'm confused as to why that would even come into play. It seemed like the committee chairman would just make a report. The committee voted and recommended to purchase.
Well, frankly, I'm mystified at the question, so I don't understand it.
All right, Ms. Hawkins, you have a,
I'm just interested to know if maybe Ewell Truck would match Kentucky Truck Sales. I know it's a different brand.
I think that's out of order
Out
at
of
this
the-
point.
Okay.
We're way past that. We're not going to negotiate after the fact with people. I mean, they either, Okay. All right, we've had a motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any, motion carries. Thank you. Anyone in opposition?
Yes.
2, 3. Okay. Motion carries 6-3. Thank you. All right, let's go on to the census update now. Kevin?
Thank you all. We have here today with us Claudia Peralta Mudd. She's our partner specialist with the U.S. Census, and she's going to provide an update on where we're at in the census and also about an event that we have coming up. Claudia?
Now, I hope you're not going to contradict what I said earlier there about being
I am not going to
7 in the
comment on that.
country.
Good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Claudia Peralta Mudd. I work for the census. My job has been for the last year, actually. It's coming to an end for all of us. Working with the different communities, especially, well, I have 9 counties. This is one of my counties, and actually, don't tell anybody, but this is my best county. I'm very proud of the stuff that we have done here, especially the leadership that I found here and the partners that we created. So that is very nice. Obviously, talked highly about everybody sitting here. Albert, certainly a friend too, Kevin back there. So everybody has been stepping forward and just supporting this thing. And interesting enough, for many of us, if you never have encountered with the census, when we talk about this, a lot of people think about this is just counting people. Right? Well, wrong. That's not only about counting people. We talk a lot today about money, don't we? A lot. That's what you do. You accept proposals left and right, and this is what it is. You talk about roads, you talk about transportation, you talk about education, playgrounds, and so forth. So every number, any data that we collect, basically, the federal government will appropriate money to the different counties just to have better services. So obviously, we talked early on about the project that you have on the properties around us. Certainly, we do care about the people is in. The people will come, that's another issue, maybe next 10 years. Right now, we're just counting the people that we have here to provide better services. Any kind of service that you can think is touched by federal money in some sort of percentages. So this is what the census is about. So don't think about, and I'm talking about everybody in the counties. It's not about only how many people we have in the nation. That's not. So saying that, I want us just bring some data. Remember, I'm kind of a data person. So obviously, I will start from the nation. The nation is not the greatest, actually, percentages. We are up today 65.9%. On the response, which is not the greatest, but we're going to get there eventually. Kentucky, on the other side, is 67.6. So Kentucky is better than the nation percentage, but it's not also the greatest. Now, Oldham County is 83% right now, today's day. It changes every day, although at this point of the ball game, it changes very little every day. And we are talking basically about the self-responded people. This is people that voluntarily either call on the phone number that we have, either did it on the internet, or they just did it on paper. By the way, not everybody gets the paper. You will find in the communities a lot of people do not get any paper, but the rural communities do get the paper. And if they don't get the paper, they will get somebody that will knock their doors to get the information that we need. The internet self-response here, and that talks a little bit about what you were talking early on the broadband and the capacity that each county has, is 75.8. So it's still big. 75.8 is pretty big, although I see in other counties a better response on that. But actually, it's a really good number. Between 2010, that which always our kind of measurement to this year, 10 years later, 10 years ago, we have 76.5% total. So that means that we are 6.5% over right now. And we have 20 more days just to finish out this process. So hopefully in 20 more days, we're going to get higher than 6.5% difference. So now, that 83% is basically, like I said, the people that volunteer did it by themselves. We already got the people on the ground. The field people is working, is knocking doors, is talking to people everywhere in the different counties here too. So that actually just bumped us up to 89.5. So again, it's a difference of 6.5 between the people that self-respond and the people that we get in information just knocking at the doors. And that keeps growing because, we have, again, 20 more days in which we will send our people out of the different communities. Kentucky ranks 39% right now in the nation with 89.5. That is the total numbers with the enumerators. That's how we call the people that knock their doors. And it's ranking 22 in the nation also for self-response. Okay, now I'm going to go to the Oldham County numbers. And hopefully you can see this somehow. This is the county. The numbers that you see, the 300 numbers, are basically what we call the track numbers. The other numbers are the zip codes. So I put the zip codes there so you can figure out kind of where we are. So my best track is 305.2. I guess you can see it is right here. This one right there. This is 305.2. That is the overall on my 9 counties. This track has been always my number 1. That speaks highly about the people that live in that particular area. Right now, they are up to 82.9% response. So that is basically, it's a huge number. Really, it's a really big number, almost 90% in a way. So my lowest track right there is the one on top, 301. This is the lowest. In fact, they have not yet got to the percentage back 2010. They're under that number. In 2010, they were 75.4, and today's date, they're 74.7. So they're lower. So basically, we should try to get these people right here. And I know there's a lot of rural, there's a little rural areas here. Anything to add, sir? No? Okay. But this is one of the areas that obviously we have some issues because we are not really achieving the 2010 numbers. Although the census always look at those numbers and we will find a way just to get those in those areas. I don't know if you know, but we do have people like me that speak other languages. So we are able to go and talk to the people that do not speak English just to get the information too. So I know I have a charming accent, right? So, but we're trying to get everybody just to be counted because this is something also important to mention. This is not only for people that were born here. This is for everybody that lives here, no matter where the people come from, no matter what legal status that person have. Because our services are provided like at the roads. We don't tell somebody that is not documented here in this community, hey, you cannot ride on this road, right? We don't tell people that have no documentation, proper documentation here, your kids cannot go to public schools. No. But that's the reason, because we did not collect properly numbers before, that's the reason public schools, all the schools are crowded because we don't have the proper numbers. So please tell everybody that even if they are not here documented, they need to be counted because that is why we have lack of services. Okay, any questions about the tracks? I mean, the darker colors are the ones that are doing better, obviously. So we have a few that are not up to the best, but also I brought here, and you can see that all the track numbers, the 2 on white, the 308, with 308 is right here, the extreme of the county. So these are the lowest, although 301 is lowest. So the 2 on white right here are the ones did not yet got to 2010 percentages. Everyone else is above 2010. The ones on look gray here are over 80%, which are pretty good too. So as you see, the numbers in Oldham County look pretty good. Like I mentioned before, we are at the end of the road here for collecting data, although you will find people that they will tell you, okay, somebody came to my house already twice. We do that. Don't ask me why, but we do that. So some people already, like, you might did it online, and you might get a call too. So that happened. Over time, we have months of people working, not people like me, but people who work in an office that will collect data, and they will look at the data, and they might sound kind of, oh, we're missing something, they will call you. They might send somebody at your house to figure out, okay, we are missing some data, we need that information. But considering that we are at the end of the road and because COVID and we were not as effective as we were thinking initially, we do what we call MQAs, that they are mobile questionnaire assistant, basically, that would stand for. We love acronyms in government. So those MQAs are basically meetings in which we help the community to come to us and us with our equipment, and we have, tablets, phones, and so forth, and that we provide our own internet, basically, so because we know some rural areas don't have it. So we help the people just to do the questionnaire right then. Although, again, we weren't that effective because until now, we weren't able to come back to the different counties. But because we have the green light in a way, so we are doing one event this week. This is this week. On Thursday, 17th, from 6 to 8 in La Grange Baptist Church. That will be our basically last effort for us, the census people, and the partners here to come together and try to see if people come to us to help them to do the questionnaire, or any question that they might have. I talk a lot about, why it's important to do the census too. I'm not allowed to help people to do the census, but I do the spiel on why it's important. Sir?
Could you make that announcement in Spanish?
Yeah, I thought you would say that too. Fully prepared, I will. So, but this is very important. So obviously, if you can pass along, and I know, Kevin, we have all our partners basically posting on Facebook accounts. We count on social media. So anything that you can put out there for us will be amazing. Remember, this is not for me. This is not for the federal government. This is for you people here in the different communities. And so we say certainly 301, the track 301 needs this information. Esta información, como digo, la voy a decir en español. Espero que alguno pueda hablar español. ¿Alguno habla español? No, nadie. Oh, sad. Esta información, decimos que el censo va a venir aquí el día jueves 17 de 6 a 8 de la noche. Estaremos la gente del censo y todos los amigos de la comunidad para ayudar a la gente aquí a hacer el censo. Muy importante saber que todos necesitamos contar. La escuela, el autobús escolar, el almuerzo de la escuela, todo es importante y todo cuenta. Si usted no cuenta, su niño tendrá menos posibilidades de desarrollarse, de tener educación en este condado o en cualquier condado que usted viva. Así que importante saber que este jueves 17, de 6 a 8 de la noche, puede venir a participar y hacer el cuestionario. Tendremos también algunos regalitos de la comunidad, así que por favor acérquense. Any questions? ¿Alguna pregunta? Sir, in Spanish?
No.
I
just have a question.
Was hopeful?
Press 2. She forgot to press 2.
And I might have missed this, but what's the percentage of the mail-in ballots versus the ones you're knocking on the door coming in? Are you seeing a slowdown on the mail-in ballots? Because I've known the mail, and I'm not trying to be political here, but I've seen 2 checks that came from Louisville that took 2 weeks to get. So just because the mail-in date or the date is going to be over soon, will you still count the mail-in that come through as long as they're postmarked or?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we will count every mail that comes late. Yes, absolutely.
So do you know the percentage?
I do not know.
Okay.
No, I don't. The only thing I can tell you is, for example, on the mailing piece was confusion at the beginning because anybody that counts in this area specifically in posting mails, if you have a box in the post mail, you don't get that survey. That's the reason we also we count people on the field. So those people that live and they don't receive the mail in their homes, they are not going to get the mailing. They don't. So they basically will see the person that will knock the door just to do it. Or they may know because we have social media and we have publicity all over the place. So they might know, they might heard that message. So they might be able to do it themselves on the phone or on the webpage or anything. That answer your question, sir?
No, I was just sitting there I have a P.O. box and a home, and I'm almost positive that I received both. So I was just processing what you just said, and I'm sitting there thinking,
Supposedly shouldn't have it in the post, no, but it could happen. I won't say no totally because it could happen, yeah. So it's always like they told us initially that, if you get it once, if you did it already once, you are not going to get it second time.
I'm not going to do it twice, but I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah.
not so sure that I did not receive 2 ballots.
What it counts here is that, did you do it?
Sure I did.
Okay, fantastic. So there we go. Yeah, but some people might got it twice, or maybe not get it at home and got it one in the post office. But so they tell us that they supposedly not to get it that way.
But this was 3 months or 4 months ago, so I don't,
Right.
I'm just trying to think back, did I receive 2 of them? And I almost think I did, because I thought, well, how are people, this is a way that you could double up on the,
Well, also that you mentioned that if you got it twice and you did it twice, it doesn't matter because we have a system in the background per se, just to be kind of matching the information. So if you do it twice, it will pile up in only one time. It's not like you're going to count twice.
well, I want to thank you for all the work you've done, because I know you worked hard on this, so.
Thank you. I appreciate
Those are
that.
just questions, I'm just wondering numbers, so.
Yeah, no, I don't know that number. Yes.
Man should die.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different advertisements, and it's on the internet, it's on the TV, it's in print. It tells you how much you lose, if the community will lose X number of dollars. If you don't, it could mean this much money if you don't do it. Well, my question is, if you get, I've never seen anywhere, and I've looked it up tried to find it on the net, and either I'm not looking in the right place, or what I'm thinking is correct. When this money filters down from the census, if one county has a better response than another, they will actually get 2 different amounts of money that will filter that county, or does it come to the state and then pushed out from there, or what? You follow what I'm saying?
I'm not pretty sure if I do understand your question, but what
The Jefferson County is like 60%, and we're like 90%.
Yes.
So we would get a third more money, whatever that money may be, for the same thing than Jefferson?
Yes, the answer is yes. Yes, absolutely, no doubt.
So it is-
And
so-
every person, just to give you an estimate on money that we're talking about here, per person that do not count, we think approximately $2,000 per person per year. That's the money that we don't use or that we don't get per year per any person that doesn't count.
So if we're at 90%, our 10% is going to cost us X, but in Jefferson, it's 60%, it's going to be 4X for them.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
if you count more people, you get more money. That's a mathematic calculation. That's it. Yes.
I didn't realize how far it filtered down. Okay, thank you.
no
That
problem.
answers my question.
Back on the numbers again. So this is gonna sound like a stupid question, but it just hit my brain. It's like, well, how do you know a percentage if you don't know how many people are out there? So are you saying that you know approximately how many people are out there and you're using those percentages? Or I'm just
Well-
wondering where you got your percentages from if you don't know how many
I
people
don't get the
out there.
percentages, tell you that much, but I guess people that get the information for us, we have a full team of people that knows statistics, so they do a calculation. Certainly, this is no doubt in my mind that we are not going to count 100% of the people that lives in the country. No doubt.
I understand, but if we're 80 whatever percent we are, how do you know we're 80%?
Well, they do the calculation. Right now, these numbers are real, but when they're the final numbers, they will do certainly statistics numbers. That's what it counts, basically.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for being with us today. Appreciate it.
No
Grazie.
problem. Thank you, guys.
Don't know too much Spanish, but
Gracias.
mucho importante. I think I heard that or something. I got that. Yeah, sayonara. Or no, that's not Spanish, is it? I don't know. All right. Well, thank you for being here today. Next item on the agenda are our payables. When you're ready, we'll pay the bills.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second,
Any discussion?
one question.
Yes, sir.
Curry Fork sign for $1,950.
I can answer that because I just asked that same question. It was a grant money and it was 18 signs.
Oh,
It was 18
Oh,
signs.
okay.
And that also included the labor and the posts.
okay. I was
I
gonna say,
asked
that's
that
a
same
big
thing.
sign,
I asked Becca Truman, our coordinator, this morning.
Good. Anything else? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is our resolution for the, adopting the tax rate for Stan Clark. You want to refer to that? Let's see your name on this thing. 2020 tax rate.
Okay. We are, required by law to set the tax rate, and what the state does each year, as you know, is they determine, look at the rate, the money that you earned the previous year, and then they come up with the compensating rate, being basically, here's a rate rounded to the nearest tenth, that would give you about the same revenue as the year before. We had about, in the value of property and hoe in our county during the past year, was assessed about 2.5% higher. And so when they did the compensating rate, they determined that a current tax rate of 8.7, the compensating rate would be 8.5% to give us the same revenue. But as you know, inflation hits, costs go up, and if you always keep your revenue the same, your expenses keep going up, it's not a long-term a good thing to do. So what is proposed is that we keep our tax rate the same, we do not change it, keep it at 8.7%. It will, in effect, give us about 2.3% more revenue this year, slight increase. And basically, that is the recommendation and what the court proceeds to do.
All right, thank you. I'll read this resolution number 01091520. Whereas the property values have increased in Oldham County, and whereas the application of the existing tax rate of 8.7 cents per $100 to the current year's assessment of property subject to tax, excluding new property and personal property, will produce more revenue than in the previous year. And whereas the state local finance officers determined that the tax rate would produce approximately the same revenue as the previous year, known as the compensating rate, is 8.5 cents. And whereas Oldham County Fiscal Court desires to keep the current tax rate, now be it resolved that Oldham County Fiscal Court hereby adopts a tax rate for 2020 of 8.7 cents per $100. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Judge, thank you. I work in the field of surveying, and that gets me involved in the deed room, the county clerk's office, and also the PVA office. And I don't understand what is going on now, but you can go through the PVA records page after page after page and find houses all over the county that have not been assessed for at least 6 years. I believe state law requires to be assessed once every 4 years, but we're missing some revenue somewhere, and I think that might be where it is, and it could be significant. I don't know how we get into that or how we determine what is going on, but recently a friend of mine who almost doubled their money on a house sold it for almost $340,000, and it was assessed for $220,000. But it's been at that assessed level for 6 years. It makes no sense. But I'm just bringing that to somebody's attention and hope somebody will say, let me help, I know where to look. But I think there's a significant source of revenue there that we're missing. Thank you.
Any other comments here? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item here is a public hearing. This is the request to close Tingle Lane. Jim Silliman will review that with us.
Good afternoon, Fiscal Court. How are you today? Fine. Good. So as the judge says, what we have is the hearing process for the proposed or requested closure of Tingle Lane. I have an exhibit here, which you actually have a summary letter in your binders from me, and this exhibit and one other. Let's get it right side up. This was provided by the applicant or requester to close Tingle Lane. And what we're talking
Jim,
about.
before you proceed, I might add that this is a public hearing, so that if there is anybody who would like to speak in opposition to the closing, they'll be given an opportunity to do so.
Yes, sir. See if the color comes in okay. Well, this portion of Tingle Lane in 2007, from here to here, it's pink on the exhibit, was closed. It's about 950 feet from 524, this is Highway 524, formerly Covington Ridge Road. The portion that's being requested to be closed now is it's shown in green on your paper. It's from 524 to a portion, to a location 950 feet back. Again, in 2007, that was closed by fiscal court. This portion was not closed, the 950 feet, because at the time there was a property that was owned by someone other than this Box and Bluff, and it would have landlocked them. Since then, I've been made aware that they have acquired that property, so now it's been consolidated into this larger property, and they've come back and requested the road be closed. There was, in 2007, there was concern about a cemetery on the property that access was required by the Strawn family and others. I believe it said there were 3 graves of the Strawn family in there, and to provide access, a gate was placed at that point where it was closed. There's a keypad that people who need access were given a code to utilize that, so the applicants requested just to move that gate further towards 524. We posted, in accordance with KRS 178.070, we posted signs on site of this hearing, so people are notified of that. We also sent letters. The applicant, who's represented here, gave us addresses of the members of the family and other individuals who were involved in the original closing, so not just the adjoining properties, but folks that would have been needing access to the cemetery and would have been involved previously. We sent them a letter about this hearing, and it was also included in the Oldham era for notification. The one restriction that I indicated in our letter to fiscal court is that we'd like, if the gate is moved forward, it should be a minimum of 70 feet from the intersection with 524. And that's just to allow if a large truck carrying or pulling a large trailer was needing access at that gate, they could pull fully off the road and not block the state highway. Those are our findings. Oh, I'm sorry. The other portion of this process is that a committee should be formed of myself and 2 other nearby residents. At a previous fiscal court meeting, Ryan Steele and John Westbrook were approved as the other 2 parties of that committee. I've spoken with them, and they've agreed that there's no inconvenience caused by this proposed closure. So those are our findings.
Okay. Is there, so, just, let me ask if there's anybody here who is would like to speak in opposition to this closing. Right, seeing no one that wants to speak in opposition, I'll let the fiscal court go ahead and.
I'm not in opposition, but we are hearing concern for the cemetery rights, just to verify.
Well, please come forward and state your name and address, please.
My name's Robert Strawn, 279 Wooded Hills Road, Pendleton. And representative of my father. My father just passed, actually, but with my uncle, we got the letter to be here today. We do have access to the cemetery. It's a family cemetery. And when we received the letter, we just showed here today to make sure that we still could have access to our family cemetery. I don't oppose closing the lane just as long as we have access, as we do right now.
Right, how is that access given now? Do you have to call ahead, or do you have a key to a lock, or how do you get there?
We have a code at the gate, like the gentleman had stated. I know in the past that has changed a few times, and we have had to contact to find access to, actually the guy that mowed the property, we contacted him to find the new. I guess my request to you, if the code is ever changed, that we could have that. You know, it's not a privilege that's abused. It's very respected that we could get back there to the family. And but other than that, there is no, on mine and my uncle's behalf, there's no
Okay.
objection to closing it, just that we could still.
Sure, I
still go,
understand.
so,
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Judge,
Are, hang on a second. Are you Mr. Barzin or, sir?
no, he's the legal counsel.
Legal counsel? Okay, would you,
Recuse myself from any consideration of this because the applicant is a client of mine.
you want to tell us who you are, please, your name and address?
Absolutely. Thank you, Judge Executive Vogel and magistrates of the Oldham County Fiscal Court. On behalf of Box and Bluff 2007 LLC and Lot 10C Trust dated January 2020, my name is John Baker. I am an attorney with Wyatt Tarrant Combs in Louisville, Kentucky, 400 West Market Street, Suite 2000. And I'm before you here today on behalf of the applicants to request your authority to discontinue the second portion of Tingle Lane that's before you today. Before I go any further, I want to provide thanks to the Oldham County Planning Department. Every time I'm in contact with them, they're very responsive and very professional. So thank you, Mr. Silliman and also Mr. Urban for help picking this application back up when we left it in 2007. And not much further to add to what Mr. Silliman said, but absolutely 100%, you have access to that, and we will make sure we maintain and preserve that access.
Both cemeteries?
Yes, absolutely. You're entitled to legal access to the cemeteries, and we will make sure we preserve that for you. And we want to make sure you have the right to go back and see them and pay your respects to them at any time you want. And I handed him my contact card for the purpose of providing perhaps a contact should anything malfunction with the gate or something change, that they can call that person in front of the gate instead of having to, go back and try again at another day. And just as I told the gentleman back here, I'm on record saying that access will be preserved and maintained, just as it has been since 2007. And not much more to add, just asking that we don't believe that this section of Tingle serves any more public purpose, and we wish to get it off your maintenance and responsibility roles. And I'm here to answer any questions.
All right, Mr. Carter, is Mr. Baker's assurance here that that lane will, gate will be available to these individuals to visit their family cemetery?
Well, from a legal standpoint, they have to provide access. They just, even if it was not a part of the closure of the lane, they would still have to provide access.
So we don't need any written document assurance?
No.
Anybody, and how far is that gate going to go back from the 524?
70 feet.
I've written down it could be no nearer than 70 feet from the intersection of Tingle and Highway 524.
And somebody have a question, Magistrate Dye?
Yes, Judge, and I'll direct this to you, Counselor. The only concern I've got is I have no problem with the closing of the road. It's basically just a driveway type affair, but the only thing that concerns me is you've mentioned in the letter, Jim, about the gate. I just want to make sure that this letter doesn't hold us harmless, the county, anything to do with the gate, moving, placing, maintenance, anything. That's your client's gate, and the 70-foot thing is on here. I just don't want to get us jammed up in there somewhere along the way.
Absolutely, and that is something that we affirmatively state on the record. Costs of relocating that gate will be solely on the applicant.
Yeah. Okay. All righty, thank you.
All right, Magistrate Hawkins.
Thank you, Counselor. You said that your client has to maintain or has to allow access. Will they also allow road availability, like clear the road? Is that the road that they use for their private driveway as well?
That's correct.
So they won't have to trek through woods, in 10 years to access the cemetery?
What I understand, there's some pretty good points to pull close to the cemetery via the access roadway. But we hope that we don't plan any obstructions of anybody's access to see their relatives.
Could you point to the cemetery on there? I don't know if Mr. Silliman did that.
And I might need some help from Magistrate Harrison on this. I do know there is a cemetery located around this area, right in the middle here. This used to be 2 farms, and this was farm 1, then it breaks to farm 2. those properties now have been consolidated. I'm not sure where the second farm is, though. Second farm, the second cemetery.
Yeah, the big one is back in this area. Overlooking
Is
the
that where
river.
the strong one is, the one you just
Yes.
pointed?
Yeah, they're probably 30-plus slaves in it.
I'm Donald Strong. Are we gonna be able to drive back to the old cemetery? Well, I can't walk very hard.
I couldn't tell you. You'll have to ask Mr. Baker.
Are we gonna be able to drive back to the old cemetery?
Yes, sir.
I don't mean every day, maybe once, twice a year.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, I just wondered about that, 'cause I can't get around very good anymore.
Well, and, you know, we hope that, you know, not hope, but we certify that your access to today, you'll enjoy the same exact access as you have been.
All right.
Nothing will
thanks, sir.
change with respect to that.
I've got a brother buried in the first cemetery, a nephew, but a sister-in-law, first one, and a lot of kinfolks back at the old cemetery. That cemetery probably been there 300 years.
Wow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
My request would be with the gate, if any time that there is a code change, that through an email or phone number, telephone, we can do a contact.
Sure.
Just to, 'cause I know my dad, he would go back there and it was changed and.
Okay.
And I know. those
We
things
don't
happen.
really, permit hallway talking here, so to speak. You have to speak in front of everybody.
And I'll get a point of
All right,
contact.
I
for you.
think we've cleared it up that your access will be fully available. Thank you. All right.
Are we ready?
Measure ties?
Are we ready for a motion?
I think so.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we close Dingle Lane.
I'll second that.
All right, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item here has to do with the EVA PAR maintenance agreement. Is Rodney Gabbard here, or somebody? Rodney?
You sitting there talking, and then you're just
That's your bad ear.
Go ahead. Tell us
This is
about
bas-
this.
Okay, this is for a Evapar maintenance agreement.
Gentlemen, Mr. Strong,
Rodney.
Mr. Baker,
Ask him to handle it in the hall.
you'll have to handle that in the hall. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, this is for the Evapar maintenance agreement for the road department's new backup generator. I'm just asking that it be signed so we can get a preventative maintenance. They come twice a year. They have a whole list of different things they check, so we can keep on top of keeping the generator up and going.
Judge, I'd like to make the motion that we enter into a maintenance agreement for the generator at the road department, please, with Everpower.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have some personnel actions here now. Ms. Shaw, pardon?
We have building and maintenance.
Excuse me. Building Committee, sorry, Magistrate Likens.
Thank you, Judge. The Building and Maintenance Committee met today and decided to use, this is just for your information, enter into negotiations with Architectural Investments concerning the design or design-build plans and specifications for the Oldham County Animal Rescue Center to be located on the corner of Jones Drive and Kentucky 393. We will be meeting Monday, October the 28th, or September the 28th at 10 a.m. to discuss options with Architectural Investments. The second item that I have is we have brought out a committee, a recommendation from the Building Committee to accept a proposal from Encompass Revera for $89,000 for a proposal to design and specifications for both phases of the John Black Civic Center expansion. Phase 1 is a 2,000 square foot kitchen meeting room addition. Phase 2 is a 1,950 square feet solarium with a 7,600 square foot patio area. Bravura had given us prices that totaled, I don't have the exact figure, $94,000 for both Phase 1 and Phase 2 added together. I called them and asked them, could they lower their price? They gave us a new proposal for $89,000 to do both architectural drawings and specifications through the bid phase for $89,000. At that point, we will know the cost of Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 1 and 2 together, so that the fiscal court can make a decision on whether to do Phase 1, Phase 2, or none of the above. So I would like to put that in form of a motion that we use Encompass Bravura for the price of $89,000.
It's not, it's Bravura Joseph Architects. It's not,
Joseph and
Compass
Joseph.
is not involved in that.
Okay, I'm sorry. For $89,000.
Is there a second?
Well, I'll second it, but then I have a question.
Okay, discussion.
Brent, when did you call them and ask them to reduce it? Today or?
No, it's been several months ago.
Okay.
The date that they came back with was, wait a second,
I mean, I just don't know. I guess my question is, did you have to rebid it since you?
was February the 28th, actually, 2020. Been quite some time.
Judge.
Magistrate Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. Well, we may have a procedural issue here. I'm getting signals from the county treasurer. I'd like for her to comment on it.
I'm just looking for the contract.
They'd sent us a proposal. And here it is.
I don't know.
And we've got the proposal.
It's hard to vote on something we haven't seen.
Pardon?
Are we going to be asked to vote on something today? Somebody's making a motion in a second, but I'm not sure what it is because we've not seen anything.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. We are constantly being told or asked to have everything reviewed by Mr. Carter and, you know, get his signature and blessing and everything like that, and I see nothing in the binders to that effect.
I think that he has taken care of that months ago. We've been bouncing this back and forth about where we're going to have construction plans for a room addition and kitchen, or we're going to have construction plans for the atrium that was proposed. And I believe that we backed off on doing the atrium now, but that the Brent has been trying to get people to agree to let them do the construction plans for both projects and find out what the total cost would be. And if we just went ahead with the room addition, then we would at least know what the cost of the atrium would be at a future time. So this has been on the agenda and tabled, taken off way back. I think Brent is just trying to bring it back up. I hear discussion about the fact that, you know, we've gone round and round in a circle on this. Let's make a decision and go forward. And either do the room addition or plans, or do the plans for both. Brent thinks it's more effective to do the plans for both, even if we only build one, because we'll have it on the shelf ready to go at some point in the future. And I think that's your point, isn't it?
Judge, this will just give us an exact figure on what this costs, because a lot of dissension, I think, up here at the fiscal court level was how much is this going to cost us? The estimates were $500,000 for the phase 1 and $1 million for the phase 2. This will tell us exactly what that is, and then we can make a decision on whether to do any of the work, or do phase 1 only, or do phase 2 only. We could make that decision at that time, but we have to have a set of plans and specifications and bid prices so that we can have that information in our hands.
Right. Manager Hounds.
A couple of things. I think that, first, I think we have a short memory. I have a short memory because I don't remember exactly where we left the project. I do remember getting the RFPs or RFQs. I can't remember which one we got. But maybe we should circulate that document back out to the court, and then everybody could become educated on the document. The second thing is, as I said in the committee today, I'm not interested in the court taking on any more projects until we can start and complete a project. We've got...
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do here, is
Well,
start a project.
I know, but I'm saying we've already got a handful of
We've
projects.
been fooling with this for months, and now we got another stall thrown out here. I just can't see it. Let's forget the whole thing. You know, let's just say to heck with it and forget it. Because
I'm not saying-
we're not moving forward on this. We have tried repeatedly to bring this up. We keep getting it pushed back. Forget it. Let it go. You know, I can live without it, and everybody else can too. You know, but to say we don't get anything going, but now we're not getting anything going here. I mean, come on.
Judge,
This
I would
is,
like
we've
to-
reached, I've reached the end of the line on talking about this, trying to do something at the community center. I'm tired of it. We all know that this has been stalled and stalled and stalled and pushed further and further back, looking for another reason not to do it. Let's forget it and go forward on something else. We got enough other things to take care of.
Judge,
You know.
I have put
Was
on the
Mr. Hound
screen,
finished?
on the screen,
Pardon?
Was Magistrate Hounds finished? I mean, I think he got interrupted.
I don't know. I mean, were you finished?
Not really. I would like to take the projects that we have on the table today, get those projects started, and move forward, because I think that we're going to be taxing the few resources that we have to complete the projects. And I don't think that's fair to our staff, and including yourself, Judge. I mean, you said yourself, you got a lot of balls up in the air, and I want to make sure we get the best quality product. And in order to do that, we can't spread ourselves too thin. That's all I'm saying.
Judge,
Okay.
there's a first and second on the floor. Do you want me to call for the vote, or
I
what
don't
do you want me
know.
to do?
Can someone go back and...
there are first and second. I
I'll-
made the motion.
I'll,
who's
I'll, wind in my emotion on the thing. We've been talking about this for months, and everybody here knows it. It is not any new subject. It was a desire to not do the atrium that derailed the thing in the beginning, and I think Brent has wanted to go forward and do construction plans for both parts of that building. But if we don't want to do that, let's vote that down. But I think we've all agreed, I thought we had all agreed that we could use another room on the community center and fix up that kitchen, and then we had that price at $500,000. Stan Clark, can you come up with any document from the past that, do you have anything on file? Where was that? I mean, I think we've approved it.
I think that
John Carter's approved it.
No, the original, what we talked about in the building committee, and I think where we were going forward was to go forward with the room addition and the kitchen upgrade. I think that was agreed upon a court. What Brent's trying to do is trying to add the phase 2 to the project that I don't think has the same level of support as the room addition does.
Okay, well, let's
I think
let's
we
amend
might
the
be
motion.
mixing. We might be mixing up our.
Let's, how about this? Let's amend the motion to withdraw or vote that down. The fact of the matter is that we don't have to have a contract to hire somebody to get a contract, do we? Or do we,
$89,000, I hope so.
For professional services on them.
They,
If you're gonna pay somebody $89,000, that's more than $30,000, so you have to
yeah,
have.
right, but I believe that
Agreement.
they submitted their professional contract to us.
Did the
They,
court pass it?
I don't know that the
It was
court passed
pulled
it.
off so many times, I don't know.
Judge,
Yes,
Judge,
sir.
if I could jump in here. The last time we talked about this, it was pulled off the agenda at the beginning of court.
I think that
I'm
was
not going to be able
pre-COVID.
to tell you what was in that part of the packet, if it was for one piece or two pieces, but since that was pulled off, we went into discussions of the budget, and we agreed to the kitchen. And that's
Right, well, that's
where
why-
basically it is right now, before Brett started talking today.
okay, well, because it was on the agenda before and it was pulled off, I believe it wouldn't have been on the agenda if John Carter hadn't signed off on it.
That's making the assumption that it's the same piece of paper.
Table.
Well,
That the
yeah,
docu-
I think they were talking about the same piece of paper here.
Yeah, I think I think there's a price differential here. I think that, and I know you're passionate about this, and you've had more than one discussion.
Well,
but
I would like to, let's see, I'd like to do something or forget it. I mean, I don't want to keep talking about it, afraid to spend the money on it. We can afford it.
I think that I think we've had conversations about the room addition and the kitchen, and I think that where we were, we got stalled on, and it may have been because of COVID, what the next step was. I know we went out for request for proposal, and we got something back, but I don't know what happened after that. And I guess maybe what we need to do is, we can do whatever we want to do with this motion, but it sounds like we don't have enough information even to make an educated decision today. We probably did in the past, but memories are short. Mine is.
What additional information would we need?
I think Magistrate Harrison brought up, I mean, if we may need to have the document put before us again. That's my opinion.
Well, Judge, there's another issue involved in it, because Magistrate Lycan said that when this came up before, it was tabled.
No, it was removed.
it was
Pardon me?
It
withdrawn.
was removed from the agenda.
No, you used the word table. I heard somebody right here say the word table.
Well, I
Earlier.
said that, but I
No,
probably.
it came from here earlier. I mean,
It
I
was,
don't-
it
doesn't matter. I
went
mean, if we-
off the agenda, I remember that.
Well, but if we did table it, we have to go through the process to take it off the table before we do anything with it. And I feel like today I'm not opposed to this, I just think it ought to be done in a different way. I mean, if we've been thinking about this since February, surely we could have put it on the agenda at some point in time instead of coming in like a surprise attack. I'm not opposed to it, I just want to do it the right way if we're gonna do it.
We removed it. We didn't
Okay.
table it.
Judge will take a deep breath here. I just like us
understand
to
your
decide, are
passion.
we
I
gonna
know.
do something on this, or
I
are we
know.
gonna forget it, you know?
And I think we just need to get the information put back in the packet for the next meeting, and we can have an educated decision at that time. I think people have forgotten about what we talked about doing. I think that the flavor, and I could be wrong, and you guys ladies can correct me, that we were gonna do the room addition and the kitchen. And in the building committee, and I think it even went to finance committee, that we got a price back that was higher than we anticipated in the budget. It was an estimate. The estimate was higher than what was in the budget, and we were having discussion about that, and that's where I forget what happened after that. I don't remember. Maybe somebody else can.
I remember us removing it from the agenda, not tabling it. I don't think it ever got
It-
removed
we-
at the beginning of fiscal court and never made it down to where we could table it.
We removed it, then the budgetary discussions came up, and this is the first time it's been back up. And I don't have my notes in front of me, but my memory's pretty good.
Judge, I think I'll
And Judge,
withdraw the
Judge, really,
motion.
you got to build an
Got to
AOC
the
building,
next
get an
meeting.
internet system going, so I don't know if you got time for this.
What's that?
You got to build an AOC building and an internet system. I don't think you got time for this.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. My recollection is that this was a budget request and that we negotiated and we decided not to do the atrium. We decided to do the room addition along with the kitchen upgrade, and so we didn't put any money in the budget for any kind of design or building of the atrium or that part of the Phase 2, in other words. We put in money for the Phase 1, which was the room addition and the kitchen upgrade.
Right.
So it seems like if we didn't put it in the budget, then why are we trying to reinsert it? But that's just my opinion.
I don't think Brent's trying to reinsert that. I think he was just trying to say that if all plans were done simultaneously, it would wind up being less expensive for the plan design in the long run, not that the atrium was going to be built. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
But, you know, it's not, you know, it's fine with me.
May I
just-
say one thing,
Yes.
Judge? I don't remember what I got to approve, but there's a standard form architectural contract that they should be presenting to us instead
That's
of
what
this
they did.
proposal. Because this proposal says what they're gonna do, and we're gonna pay $89,000 for it. And if we get it and we don't like it, we're gonna have to pay for what we want again.
No, way back in the day, somewhere back there, we did ask for that standard architectural
Right.
contract, and they provided it.
Well, I don't see it here.
But I agree with you, it's not there. This was something came up at building committee today to approve that to go forward.
Well, they
But
need to
did
submit
provide
that,
the
they
stand-
need to submit us that contract, is
Pardon?
what they need to submit us that standard form contract.
Well, it was,
I
I just
haven't
don't
seen
have
it.
it, we just don't have it here on.
Okay.
They did send it, because we asked for that change way back when we took it off the agenda. The first time, yeah. Right.
Judge, I'll withdraw my motion, please.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, I'll apologize to everybody for blowing up. I mean, I'm just frustrated on talking about, you know, this subject. And I think we do have a good idea for something nice for the community center. Add a nice room there, if we can get over our procedural issues. So, okay. Next item here is, now we're down to personnel items, okay? Ina Schaaf.
We already did that, okay.
Good afternoon. Before you all this afternoon, we have 3 new hires. The first one's going to be at maintenance. Brad Catron, Maintenance Assistant 2, at $20 an hour, and that'll be effective tomorrow. Do you want me to do all 3 of them together?
Yeah, I guess. Go ahead.
The road department, we have a new hire, Jason Dunaway, Equipment Operator 1, at $13.50 per hour, and that's effective October 1st. And then we have a police new hire, Andrew Hamilton, Patrol Officer, per the attached contract. He's retired, reemployed, retired from LMPD and coming to us. And that would be effective on September 21st.
I'll make that motion that we accept these 3 new hires that Tina just presented to us.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Magistrate Harrison?
Sorry, but we spent an hour at another committee meeting earlier talking about new hires at the jail at $15 an hour, and here we got a new hire here at $20 an hour, and I've no indication of what his experience level is, I don't think.
Well, no, I can tell you that. He's coming to us from Hometown Pizza as a maintenance technician there, which he was there for 4 years. He has experience with construction, plumbing, electrical, drywall, landscaping, excavating, and he's a graduate from EKU with a bachelor in biology.
I just got an endorsement from a key person,
Oh, okay.
so I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Any further discussion here? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
We do have one resignation from Police Department, and that's Todd Lindner, and that's effective on the 26th of this month.
I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have two appointments here I would like to recommend. First appointment to the Code Enforcement Board, Charles Turner, for a term that would expire October 2nd, 2021. Charles is a longtime Oldham County resident and is, worked mostly with social services over the years, but has also, been in the Marine Corps League and Historical Commission, been a member of LaGrange, or was a candidate for LaGrange City Council in the past, and I think will be a good addition to this board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I will abstain due to prior experience with this gentleman.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The next appointment, Board of Adjustments, that would be Frederick Burr, to a term to expire January 21, 2024. Mr. Burr is, former member of the United States Navy, Naval Reserve. He's been a lawyer in private practice in New York State for a number of years, and graduated from the University of Louisville and the Albany Law School and of Union University. I think he'd be a very good addition to the Board of Adjustments, and I recommend his appointment.
Judge, I'll make a motion, we accept the appointment of Frederick Burr with a term to expire 1/21/2024 to the
Second.
Board of Adjustments.
Second.
In favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Time now for our public comment. If anybody had come in and had anything to add. All right. Seeing no one for public comment, we'll close that and see if there's any closing comments today from our magistrates. Magistrate Logston.
No, sir, I just want to remove my second, though.
A little late.
I think it went down.
Took you a while.
All right, Magistrate Dye.
Nothing today, Judge.
Okay. Magistrate Hawkins.
By the time we meet again, Oldham County Public Schools will be back in person. And as a person on the court who has a child in the Oldham County Public Schools, I'm asking you all to be careful. It was nice seeing the buses out. You guys have been practicing the routes, and it's been kind of cool to see. So I know my child, who's in the Oldham County Public School System, is so looking forward to going back in person. So I guess just congratulations to all those kids, and please be careful. Look out for them.
Does he not care for your homeschooling? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
We do a variety of things. We do. But I have one in the Oldham County Public School System.
Magistrate Hounds.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Judge. Last week, Oldham County lost one of the original paramedics that started what was first known as the Oldham County Paramedics. It was a volunteer group of people that provided advanced life support. E.J. Mike lost his battle with the coronavirus. E.J. was one of the folks that we could always depend on in the middle of the night that would show up. Always a great person. He was a huge asset to what we have today, which is a great 24/7 EMS service. And I just ask people to keep his family in their thoughts and prayers.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. The other thing is that September is National Preparedness Month, and it is to promote family and community disaster planning now and throughout the year as our nation continues to respond to COVID-19 and other things involved. Their tagline is "Disasters don't wait, make time to plan today." And then the other thing, Judge, you brought up about the Oldham County Fiber. I've been able to listen in and participate in some of those discussions, and this is a huge day for Oldham County. I really hope that people will take it serious and we can get a highest percentage possible of people to respond to the survey. I know I've talked to several people that have internet, and they would be grateful if we could figure out a way to provide them the same coverage or better at a reduced cost, as well as some people that live in Magistrate Harrison's district and others, including my own district, that do not have internet at all or have a very poor connection. So we, as a fiscal court, need to do our best to champion this and try to get as many folks as we can to fill out the survey so that we can make the best decisions forward as to what the build-out of the product's going to be in the future. And you said it very well. It's going to take 36 months. And I had a person that sent an email to me and asked if the Oldham County Fiber meant that she would have fiber by the end of the year. And I said, probably not. And then she wanted to know when she would have it. And I said, we won't know until we complete the survey. So again, we need to get the survey filled out with as accurate information as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Right. Magistrate Grima.
Thank you, Judge. And I would like to, along the same vein of the internet and everything, there's a huge push by Verizon to get something in the ground, and I don't know what that is. And so if the judge or Kevin knows what that's all about, I'd invite them to talk about it right now. If not, let's get somebody from Verizon in here to explain what in the world they're doing, because anybody that's doing that much traffic control has got to have a big project. And I've got people asking me, can I hook onto it? I've got people saying, is this a duplication of what we're trying to do with Kentucky Wired? And I don't have the answers to that. So anyway, Judge, you got something?
No, I don't know exactly, other than the fact that I was told that they are replacing wire, metal wires with fiber optic cable.
Well, see, if it's cellular, it seems to me like it should be coming through the air. But here they are burying cable as hard as they can go. And
They have to connect the antennas. So this is going to assist them in connecting their cellular antennas.
Ah, okay.
Judge?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Settleman, would you know, because aren't in some of these instances, aren't they having to get permits to
State right away.
dig certain holes in certain places? A new permit program you've got?
So far, the areas that you've seen are state roads, 53, 22, 146, so they've not had any permitting from us. We have talked to them, though, as they've come into our office preliminarily. I was talking to Magistrate Greenwell earlier. It's a company called TCS who's working for Verizon. As I understand, they're expanding their 5G network by replacing older cables with fiber optic. We have been asked for a smaller area around Holly Gibson and Old Floydsburg for a similar permit, and they're working out right away.
So their old wire wasn't in conduit, apparently?
I'm not sure what it was in, if it was bundled or in conduit, but the new,
Copper, but wasn't in,
Copper wire and go to fiber
but it
optic.
was buried, it wasn't in conduit, correct?
I don't know the answer.
they could be running something alongside it,
wouldn't-
I'm not sure.
Conduit's there forever.
I have a question, Judge, then. So do we have to give them permission to go on the right-of-ways of the county then?
That's correct.
And is that true, John? I mean, the public utilities, can they go wherever they want to without asking our approval?
No, I'll jump in. We do have the ordinance that was passed in February for work within the county right-of-way, so by ordinance, they should be getting approval, which is what they're working on.
Because they're gonna have to prove to me they're not in competition with us.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, I think, they're not, well, there may be, there are gonna be people in competition with us, and we're gonna be in competition with them. I mean, we are the competition. I expect one of the results of our initiative here is gonna be that people are out there now, I won't name names, just to be safe, but I suspect they were gonna drop some prices. They're gonna, they're gonna try to, they're not gonna let us pick up customers just for the, sake of it. They're gonna fight back. But we're gonna put in something that is better than we hope, than what we have here now, and it's gonna extend to people that they weren't interested in before. So, say that again?
Control the right-of-ways of the county's roads, then they can't lay them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure we can actually.
I don't think you
them
can
using
deny
it.
them.
That's why I asked John that question.
And this, that may be, Mr. Carter, your answer, but, I mean, technically, it's public right away. And if it's a public service, then there's a definition we'd have to get into.
Okay. Mr. Greenwell.
Thank you. As Magistrate Hawkins alluded to, tomorrow is the first day of school for elementary only in Oldham County. And then middle and high school will be on September the 28th. So let's everybody be careful and let's do this right so we only have to do it one time.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Magistrate Harrison.
Good judge. Since everybody's drawing attention to the northeast corner of the county, I would like to say that that is probably the area with the poorest internet reception in Oldham County. This is the first year that the census has been able to process questionnaire responses online. And we've got a lot of people over in that area that just cannot respond online. Now, how that's connected, I don't know. But I'm all for the announcement the judge made earlier about the internet's coming, and everybody in my district is. Military days, I announced this before, September, the entire month, is National Suicide Month. But coming up in 2 days is the beginning of Constitution Week, the 17th through the 23rd. And on the 17th, it's also Citizenship Day and Constitution Day. On the 18th, it's the U.S. Air Force birthday. It's also the birthday for the Air National Guard. And it's also National POW MIA Recognition Day. When we get to the last Sunday of the month on the 27th, it's Gold Star Mother's Day, and that ties in with what they recently did down at the Memorial Park in Crestwood. Thank you.
Thank you. Magistrate Tice.
Nothing, Judge.
Magistrate Likens.
Thank you, Judge. A few things. I have DLG magistrates and commissioners training tonight. If anybody needs to get some hours in, it's between 6 and 9 tonight and Thursday night, put on by Woody Woodson. He's pretty interesting, doesn't put you to sleep entirely, but just watching a screen. But I'll be glad to send anyone the link to that if they need to get any of their training hours in. Then I'd like to defer my talking back to Stephanie because I wanted her to mention the October 18th trunk and treat, which I really like the idea of that because I get no trick-or-treaters at my house at all, and it's something I kind of miss seeing happen. And the other thing that Stephanie didn't talk about was the proposal from Tetra Tech for the Schaumburg Park that was brought up in committee today. So if you can address those two items.
Sure. Trunk or treat will be, I'm going off memory now because I already packed up my notebook. But
October 18th.
October 18th, which is a Sunday.
3:30.
Yep. The run is going to be the Halloween Spook Fest. Is that what it's called? It's going to be at 2 o'clock. The trunk or treat is going to be at Wendell Park at 3:30, and it'll be COVID friendly, and should be a fun event. And then the Tetra Tech. So there were some things that we talked about in the Parks Committee today regarding, and I mentioned it last time about engaging the public, engaging the magistrates, and what you all would like to see in our Oldham County Parks and Recreation system. And is that of value to those that live in Oldham County, to the quality of life? And do the citizens think that a viable and vibrant Parks and Recreation system is a quality of life issue? And so those surveys will be going out, and it will also specifically address Schaumburg Park and things like, would you commute to Schaumburg Park in Westport if it had facilities that were updated, or even there, it doesn't have a lot there, but really a boat ramp and a bathroom. So would you trek to Westport if you live in Oldham County and if you live outside of Oldham County in order to utilize some of these assets if the county puts money into it? So those are some other survey questions that you'll be asked, and these things will be online. They'll be on Facebook, Instagram. My kids call it Insta. And there'll be some in-person surveys done at the park for the boaters, and then others that come out to use the park in Westport, Schombeck Park. And then I think there'll be some mail-in surveys, but these are some things that we're working on to ask the constituents, you know, what's important to you in a Parks and Recreation Department. And so did I hit all your points there, Magistrate Likens?
Yes, and talk about the Tetra Tech.
Then Tetra Tech, which was a company that we enlisted about a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, to sort of move forward with the Schombeck Park project. Some things that are on their new list, we call it a phase 2 of what they're going to be proceeding with, are a muscle survey, a little bit more in-depth muscle survey, which would consist of what impact would development of the park have on mussels right there at the river's edge and in the river. In addition to that, it would be a more comprehensive bat assessment. Not only is it a viable roosting location for bats, but are there actually bats there that would be disrupted by development of Schombeck Park? And then after public comment and public viewpoints are gotten by the county engineer, the Parks Committee, as well as the Jim Urban, the Director of Planning and Development, then we would move forward with a sort of a broad concept plan. And so the plan right now is to start the public comment in person on November 5th. And then this is sort of tentative right now, November 5th, and then the next date would be April 1. So the contract for Tetra Tech has been, is different than what was proposed last, I believe it was March of 2019, whereas this contract would be about $28,000, and it would include that broad spectrum contract, the mussel assessment, the bat assessment, and the boundary survey, which would include the topo. It would include the ordinary high water mark, and additionally would include the boundary survey, since we've acquired some properties since we last talked about it. So there it is in a nutshell, off memory. Thanks for putting me on the spot there.
All right, thank you. I'll apologize to everybody here for blowing my top here a little while ago. Just frustrated by a number of circumstances, and part of, Chris pushed my button there about, things in planning stages not getting done. Some of this, we do have a lot of things out there. Today we're initiating our broadband program. We're working on, plans for a new animal control building. We're waiting for the state to come and federal government to approve off-ramps on the interstate at exit 20. We're building a new road in Oldham Reserve. We have, a room addition ready to go to the Methodist Church building, which once that's in there, we expect to be able to remodel the inside of that building and make it a nice facility for the Fiscal Court complex here. Of course, we're building a new courthouse across the street. We got a lot of things going on that. The community center addition is something we've been working on for a long time. I'd love to see that happen. Drainage projects in Goshen and then down in the Oldham County Soccer Park are part of our facilities here. We did finish the MSD merger and the takeover, but there's still some things that are being, attended to in relation to that. Schombeck Park has just been mentioned. I think we've purchased probably 5 properties in Schombeck Park. The number comes to mind. We spent a lot of money down there over the last 4 or 5 years. And we have one property to, we're going to get a person out of that property that we're waiting for them to leave by the end of October. So, and there are other things, day-to-day things. A new sidewalk for the fiscal court building is another addition. And there's just a lot of things happening. So I think we're all excited about the things we have going, but things can't move as fast as we can conceptualize them. It just takes time to execute, and there are many steps in all of these things. So I'm happy to have the internet project start today. I'm really excited about what that's going to bring us in the future, and I hope that addresses I get an email almost every day from someone who says, my service is poor, please do something to help us. And we're not able to force AT&T and Spectrum to build out their service to somewhere they don't think is economically feasible. But we're coming up with a plan. We have a consultant. We're going to have a business plan to try to cover the county and get everybody the service they'd like to have. So these things are coming. And no, you did. I'm just ready to explode over something, I guess. So I can't help it. I'm try to keep my emotions in check, but every now and then, go off the deep end. So I apologize. So that's our meeting for today. I thank everybody for being here and for the contributions made, and the motion to adjourn.